Hello guys, welcome to the Fallout 76 review from Oscar Cooper, and FYI, it's coming up to 3:30 AM here in Dubai, and I had a root canal today, but I've put a lot of hours into Fallout 76, and if you're like me, you probably heard about the beta and all the complaints and all the YouTubers slating it, and I was like, whoa. I deliberately didn't go near the beta. I don't really like going near betas of games like this. I wanted to approach it fresh, and I wanted to give you guys my feedback on it because I've given it a lot of playtime. First thing I want to point out is the atomic shop at the beginning. This is a bit weird because you can purchase points. So this is the in-game currency that you can spend here, and it looks like it's only cosmetic at this stage. There are sort of other aspects of this that are a little bit deeper than that, but essentially it's emotes and, you know, different colours and different things, which is fun. I like that idea, as long as it doesn't, you know, pay to win or anything like that. It's not in there. As far as I can see, it isn't, but it's cool to see that much customizable stuff, you know, straight off the bat. Now, multiplayer wise or co-op wise, this is co-op. I've got this, or want this game for Fallout co-op. I've always desired the Fallout universe to be shared with a friend, and that's exactly what's going to happen with this. But I got this early, and I got in sooner than expected, and there was no one in here. Well, hardly anyone in my map server or my lobby that I went into. It was great. So I got to play this completely on my own, which is really what I want to do with the game. Deep down is just exist in this universe, you know, as an individual. But I also want to get mates in and do it together, do it as a PvE game. I'm not looking at this for PvP at all. Well, not yet anyway. I think the idea might grow on me. But yeah, let's talk about it, because it is a Fallout standard. It is a standard Fallout game. So what they've done is they've not really taken much away from you, apart from the VAT stuff, which we'll get into in a minute. But everything is really kind of there. Like, you know, it's not of the same polish and panache as Fallout 4, but it's certainly enough of it. There are these in-game sort of live events. This is one of them here, and it's basically just activating you know, one of the robots, and he'll take you to a particular area, and you'll get a reward for it, and you get timed on the event. It's quite interesting because if he takes damage, he goes a lot slower, Mr. Gutsy, but it's cool to see these random enemies come up and just random stuff happening. I think that's what Bethesda do really well. This is a really good example. I hear something behind me here, and I'm like, whoa. He then took me to this army camp, which was full of Mr. Gutsies who all thought they were in the army. And I think the script writers at Bethesda and the writing at Bethesda is really good. A lot of people are complaining about there not being any NPCs in this game. I don't mind it at all, because of the voice recordings and the holotapes are really good. They're really story rich. They're good enough. And there's Mr. Gutsies everywhere, and they are funny as hell. They really are. They're mad as hatters, some of them, and are completely delusionally crazy. But anyway, I finished the event, and this is a one-off event, but it gave me loads of XP, and it gave me loads of rewards, really cool, handy rewards. You can see I got loads of stim packs and radaways, and I got some really handy ammunition types as well, and some money. Money is really key in this game, and it's pretty damn scarce. We're going to look at the leveling system in a bit. But then this led on to the sergeant, Mr. Gutsy, saying, right, well, you've got to get dressed in uniform and then come back to me. Once you've done that, then we're going to put you through your paces. I think it's cool. It's called Back to Basic. But this is a main story mission, so I'm not too sure how that random event that was timed ended up taking me on to a main story mission. I think that's part of the genius of Bethesda's game making, is that they dovetail everything in together and make you feel like you're experiencing something that you've created yourself. And I think that's a really strong point for this game and the series as well. But it's here in droves here, it really is. So I'm on the assault course. I get put through my paces. It was so much fun. It was really cool. It was a really weird thing to actually, you know, have happen in the middle of a Fallout game. after coming off the back of a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, you're kind of spoiled with looks, and looks wise this game does pull through sometimes. Okay, we're going to go into some of the ins and outs of that quote in a minute, but when it does well, it does very well indeed. Now you can get a third person view by clicking in the big button, and you can also go to first person view as well. I personally prefer first person view on this game. It's easier for me, it's something I'm more used to, but it's nice to be able to flick out and flick in. It's also done well on the light and the sun and the different times of day. There is weather in it as well, and the water and rain mechanics are very nice. They're not crazily good, but it's a really cool aspect of the game that this is basically a big online multiplayer game that gives you some really lush visuals, and it gives you a lot of detail on the outside, on the trees and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's quite important. There's also a lot of crafting in here as well. You'll be pleased to hear that the weapon mod, weapon crafting, there's also food crafting as well. Eating and drinking is a big one in this game. If you don't do that, then your VAT suffers, and of course you'll start just losing all kinds of stuff if you don't eat. So you're looking for sort of animal food, and you're looking for recipes, and you're looking for stuff to combine that with and sort of level up your cooking, etc. A bit like Skyrim actually is probably the nearest comparison for a game that actually leans on that much of crafting, but I like that idea. There's also a brilliant in-game economy as always, and you can trade with any other traders. It's really cool that you don't have to go to a gunsmith to sell guns, and you can also buy ammunition off just about everybody as well, which is so important because this game's only as good as the amount of ammunition that you're carrying. So yeah, I those mechanics are solid, always have been with the Fallout series, and they're still here, and they're still good, and they're still workable. Nothing's changed with them just because it's a multiplayer game. Now this map is just kind of a little bit mind-blowing, and I'm going to go into why in a second, because back to the whole Bethesda game model is that it's all about stories, micro stories, stories that you find, things that you uncover, locations. I think it's really important word here that you find and sort of pull apart and work out the stories behind them is really important. I also love the room-to-room combat, and I want to talk about this VAT. So you click in L1 and you basically auto aim. You can have a critical hit on triangle, but it's a guaranteed hit, and it helps if there's a lot of enemies around and you want to focus on one, or if you just really want to get a job done, you can just whack the VATs on. It looks weird. Some YouTubers have spoken about how they missed the original. You can't have a time slowing down mechanic in a multiplayer game, you just can't. I think they worked around it as best they could with this. I do, it's gone, the traditional VATs, of course it is, it had to be. You can't have a time freezing mechanic on an online multiplayer game. Now also you do get kind of swamped sometimes. This is me getting in a panic with my favourite wheel, and it's a big favourite wheel, it's a really good idea, but I'm like, what do I pick, and ended up just going for the old fave, and it was just good. It felt good to be sort of overrun by zombies just all of a sudden, like just going up a hill on my way to a checkpoint, and just bang, they just came flowing down the mountain, and I was like, brilliant. And I was purposely not wanting to use my VATs here because I wanted to keep it, because I knew there was a bunch more of them up there, and that was wicked. It was really nice to just be subjected to some serious amounts of zombies. They came down from this mountain, and I'm like, what the frick, where were they coming from then? And so I investigated. I went up there and had a look around, and I'm thinking there must be guarding something, there must be something worthwhile looking at up there. And it was these funny little, hold on, where are they? Here we are. The funny little, they're kind of like, they've got these symbols on them. There's this red star symbol that seems to be predominant. Is that the Chinese thing? Is that to do with the, I don't know, but that was really funny. It was really cool. I was like, holy crap, what are these things? What do they want? And they're jumping all around me, and I'm like, bloody hell, and I'm wasting valuable ammunition on stuff that I shouldn't have needed to. So that was really interesting. Enemies are really good, and they're quite frightening. And this on the toilet, I mean, if I opened that door and walked in there and it jumped on my face, I just would have freaked. I was so glad I spotted it. And I was also thinking I'm getting a bit fatigued with these like feral zombies, ghouls everywhere. But then we got to some super mutants, so I'm sort of leveled up now. I'm about level 7, level 8. So it's given me some like nicer, tougher enemies, and I know it's going to get a lot better. And you've seen the trailer, you've seen some of these mammoth beasts that we're going to be fighting, and it's dropped this huge hint about this big flying thing that's going to come down. Anyway, I've deliberately kept this shallow to avoid those sorts of spoilers. But it's nice to see the super mutants back in. They've got mounted guns, they've got their mounted turrets, they're all really dug in. As I said, they'll have their dogs, their hounds, all that sort of stuff. But they've got quite a lot of personality. You know, I love the way they die. Now that's the core game sort of covered, and there's nothing wrong with it at all, nothing. But look at this, check some of this out. This game is janky as fuck. The frame rate when I went into this building, this was like a big factory. It was almost unworkable for me. Like, look at that, that's just unbelievable. Like, it must have dropped to about 20 to 30 frames a second. Some of the stuff that you see, if you're looking for it, is mad. It's really mad. I've done a montage here, and this is the God rays coming out of the ground. Todd rays, skill up, I watched your video. Some of it is just fucking scary. I mean, slash, you know, pornographic. You've got this thing with pop-in, which is, it doesn't happen enough to ruin the immersion, but when it does happen, it doesn't fuck about. It's just like, whoa, there we go. And the enemies, bless them, they just get themselves in a real muddle, and you know, it's like, come on Fallout 76, you can do this. Go home, you're drunk, Fallout 76. But I look at it as part of the charm. More importantly, I look at it as something that's fixable, okay? Because it is gorgeous, this game. You'll walk round corners in this game, and the sun will be at the right angle. You'll be outside at the right time of day, and it will just dawn on you that this game is special. Okay, it is. It isn't terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I've just played it for 5.5 hours straight, and not for 1 minute was I like, oh god, I can't be doing with it. You know, I've got to get it done. I was just pulled through. I loved it. I was like, next quest please, next quest please. Oh, what's this here? You know, it can do it. It shows brilliance in areas. It really does, and it's well worth, you know, digging and finding those areas. This is one of them, and then back to that map and talking about those locations and talking about Bethesda's genius with creating these amazing scenarios. This is like it was called Top of the World, and it was like this a secret radio station that came through once I got up on this altitude, and it was this woman saying, look, it was like a supply drop thing, and she was like, need to come up here and help me out. And of course, I gradually got to this massive structure at the top of a mountain. There was loads of sort of mini fights on the way up there, but she starts talking to me. She's like, look, I need you to come up to the top here. She's kind of like sieged, and there was loot and rewards and all kinds of tiny, intricate backstory elements in here. You know, I'm not for a minute missing the fact that there's just not a daft NPC standing in front of me giving me orders. It's cool to find the holotapes. It's cool to find the backstory. It's a freaking Holocaust apocalypse. You know, of course no one's going to be around. You know, you're the only person and your friends who are alive and finding out what happened here, and I think they can be forgiven for that. So that complaint for me is a little bit invalid, because there's enough story here, there's enough substance within the game itself. Another good example of substance is that there is just so much randomness with the loot and this is just a normal zombie that's in the street, and it's just a standard execution, and I'm just like, okay, blah blah blah, and then of course I actually get it down on the ground, and I go in to loot the creature itself, and it's got a divine treasure map, and it's numbered 10, and I'm like, whoa, and it's given me, just like on Red Dead, it's given me this little picture, and I'm like, oof. You know, that's seared in my brain. I love little nuggets like that, and I love to find them in the Fallout games. Now this is interesting. Let me talk you through what actually happened here. So I've done another one of these Mr. messenger thing. So what you have to do is you have to activate him, and then he takes you to the wherever he's got to give a message to, and you get like a fat piece of reward for it. And again, you're timed, and we can see that the timer's on 20. It's the top quest. And by the way, you guys don't have as many quests on the screen as me. You can toggle them on and off so that you can just have the ones that the main or the side that you actually want to bother with. I like how he drags me through the radiated water there, doesn't really care. Anyway, he gets like, you know, accosted by zombies from a number of different directions. This is one of the occasions where the game is actually behaving quite well. The light's working, the AI is really good and aggressive. They're actually coming for me left, right and centre. But anyway, something very interesting happens now, and something that reminded me that I wasn't playing on my own, of course. And I know about the rules with PvP on this game. You have to instigate it. So I think what probably happened here is that I may have accidentally shot another player in this fracard here, because you'll see in a second that someone else just turns up, and it was my actual first legitimate encounter. I saw some like numpties walking around a village and waved at them, all that sort of stuff. But just here, I'm thinking that's all sorted, and that's another player, and I think I shot him. Either that, or there was a assassination mission on. You get these hunted missions on. But the game was like, okay, fair enough. It put me just next to where I died, and you can see it's a skull on the bottom of the minimap there. And so I make my way back to it because I'm gutted. I'm like, Jesus, what have I lost? I haven't actually checked my loot. Well, I've still got my shotgun, which is a brand new find. And I'm like, oh, there it is. There's a bag on the ground, and I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, this isn't my stuff. It looks like a gift bag. And I'm like, whoa, you know, happy days. There he is. And I'm like, fuck, is this the guy that killed me? Better give him a little friendly wave, straight away, friendly wave. Then I'm just like, what will I do? Money? Give him money? I don't know. I do the whole frightened thing, and he then asks me to team up. So there's an option to actually team up, and I'm like, okay, not up for it, but that's pretty cool. And then he said, he moves a bit closer, which allows me to interact on a trade level with him. And I'm like, right, okay, so what's he got? That's his list down there on the right hand side. And I'm thinking, I'm dying for some ammo. I need some 10mm ammo. I request it from him. I don't think he comes through with it, but he offers me a purchase, which is actually, I think it's a 44, yeah, with the scope on it, and it's only 20 caps. I think that's good value, but I don't have one. I certainly don't have one with a scope, and it's a ball ache getting the mod to put the scope on there. So I'm like, awesome, nice one, mate. So, you know, he shot and killed me, but ended up being an asset. So that's interesting. Another thing that's interesting that I went nowhere near and didn't really go anywhere near on Fallout 4 was the building and construction of structures. I'm saving that for when my mate comes on. He's got it a bit later than me, but I think that I'm going to get so into that, building a cool base, getting the turrets up, getting everything sorted out, really cornering a bit of the map and enjoying that aspect. And I think that's definitely going to be totally worth the sacrifice for some of this jankiness, is being able to do this whole thing co-op. The Fallout universe has always been amazing, and it'll be twice as amazing being able to do it with a mate in co-op. So, as always, guys, I'm going to bed. I will see you down there. Enjoy the game. I've just uploaded the opening hour if you want to have a look at that as well. YouTube's taking its time with putting that live, but thanks for watching and enjoy, guys.